If you're preparing for the C1 Advanced Writing exam, then seriously, you need to hear this. There's one mistake that students always make when preparing for Part 2 of the C1 Advanced Writing exam. Please, don't make this mistake.
Picture this. You're in the C1 Advanced Writing exam. You've got 90 minutes to write 2 pieces, and Part 2 gives you a choice of 3 questions. These could be a letter, a review, a report, or a proposal. Sounds simple, right? But here's where students go wrong, and I mean really wrong.
Too many students think that they can outsmart the exam by only preparing for 2 of these options. Most commonly, students focus on letters and reviews.
Oh, I've written letters and emails before, and reviews are fun. Reports and proposals are boring. I'm not going to bother learning how to write them.
Look, I know learning about how to write in different genres is really boring, but seriously, when it comes to the exam, you do not want to be constrained by your knowledge of how to write. Because the question of how to write is always much easier to answer than the question of what to write. Let me show you what I mean with an example.
You recently read an article in a magazine about popular music, in which the author criticized popular music today compared to the past. You have decided to write an email to the editor of the magazine in response to the article. In your email, you should state what the criticisms were, what your opinion is, and persuade the editor to publish your email. Write your email.
To complete this task effectively, you need a lot of specific skills. You need vocabulary about music. You need to compare and contrast past and present music. You need a semi-formal and polite tone because you're writing to the editor of a magazine, but you also need to be persuasive and interesting enough for potential readers of the magazine to want to read your opinions expressed in your letter. Oh, and perhaps the hardest thing, you need to come up with some imaginary criticisms of modern music on the spot. Well, what if you don't have any ideas? What if you're not even interested in music? Well, now what do you do? You're in serious trouble.
Oh no, I don't know what to write about. This is terrible.
Seriously, even if you are the king or queen of email writing, that's not going to help you here if you don't know how to write about music. But apparently, letter writing is easy, eh? Let's contrast this now with a potential report question.
You have been asked by the town mayor to write a report for your local community centre about the current state of the sports facilities available to residents. Evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of these facilities and suggest improvements to better meet the needs of the community. Write your report.
Now, I don't know about you, but I think this question is way easier. You need to describe some sports facilities. You need to evaluate what's good and what's bad. Then finally, you need to throw in a couple of suggestions. Now, most people have some experience of sports facilities, but not everyone has potential criticisms of modern-day music. This is a much more relatable question, and so for most students, it would be the easier question to complete. But here's the thing, if you haven't studied effectively how to write a report, then you're forced to write this email. You basically have 2 terrible options. You can write a well-structured letter with terrible content, or a poorly structured report with great content, and this is a situation that you really don't want to be in. Let's talk a little bit about why this happens. Students love letters because they think,
Oh, I know the format. Dear Sir or Madam, introduction, body paragraphs, and then goodbye.
but the format is only half the battle. The C1 Advanced exam tests your ability to adapt your language to a variety of situations. A letter to a friend, of course, is very different to a job application, and a job application is very different to a letter of complaint. And if, for whatever reason, you don't have an appropriate repertoire of vocabulary to express your views on a topic, then your writing's going to be bad, no matter how well you know how to structure a letter. So, how do you avoid this mistake? Well, ensure that you know how to write reviews, letters, proposals, and reports. Remember that letters need a greeting, a clear purpose, paragraphs, and a sign-off. Remember that reviews need an engaging introduction that can grab the target reader's attention. They need a description of what is being reviewed. They need to contain your opinions, and they need to finish with a recommendation. Remember that reports and proposals need to be formal. They need to have subheadings, and the primary purpose of a report is to describe and evaluate, and the primary purpose of a proposal is to describe and persuade. And because I'm a fantastic guy, I have an entire playlist about part 2 of the C1 Advanced Writing exam right here, where you can learn how to write each of these things. Whew, marvelous! So please don't be lazy. Give future you a present by preparing for all 4 of these types of tasks, so when you're in the exam you don't think, "Oh, I wish I could do that, but I can't because I have no idea how to write a report or a proposal or a review or a letter," because that would be an absolutely stupid way for you to lose marks. And with that, we are finished. If you liked the video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below. My name is Toby and this was Smash English.